here he is. How are you, big fella?
Good, mate.
So,
Left guard shirt on, hey?
we'll do the start. Was it? I'm Matt. I'm a punk enthusiast, and you are?
I am the Dean from the band The Dark Clouds.
Excellent. So where did that come from? The Dark Clouds.
Trying to find something that was, I don't know, a little dark and ominous, you know. I'd like to say it came from, you know, I don't know, a Sunny Boys song or something like that, but no, it didn't. Yeah, dark and ominous, whatever that word is.
Yeah, ominous.
Yeah.
No worries. So I heard you were you did a gig not too long ago. Was that
yeah, we've been busy even through all of this. We've managed to have a few shows that all tick the boxes, as in they're outdoors. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. So we're down Victoria a couple of weeks back, and then we just shot up to Woy Woy up Lincoln Pin. Yeah.
Excellent. So what's your favorite state that you like to play in? Where do you get the best welcome?
I find Newcastle is a real standout. I've always said to people, I think people of our age group aren't scared to accept that they're old farts, and if you want to watch music that you like, you better get out and watch it and have a good time.
Yep, that's it.
Where I see some other places don't necessarily do that.
Yep. So what are your 4-piece?
So guitar, bass, drums, and me.
Okay, excellent. And how long have you been together for?
It's coming up 10 years.
Yeah, I've got written down 2013, but I didn't know if that was correct or not.
No, that'd be right. I think we probably started jamming in about December 2012. So you're right. Yeah.
Cool. Good. Okay. What's your favorite Aussie band? Where do you get the influence for the Dark Clouds from?
Influences, mate, I could talk to you for an hour about this. Off the top of my head, if we talk about the band, not me, but what are the influences? We've deliberately tried to go for that, what we call the 80s classic Aussie pub rock. So I'll throw the Angels out there and Rose Tattoo and all that. That's where we're trying to be, a little bit heavier and tougher than necessarily what I was into it in that time.
Yep.
But that'd be who I'd say.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm a big Divinals fan, so yeah.
Yeah. Our bass player Rich would have them in his top 10 for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think a lot of people would. They were just brilliant. Overseas band. Have you got any influences from overseas?
Look, again, between me and the band, it's a little bit different. If I was talking about my influences, oddly, I found when I was quite young, all the bands that I tended to like came from the same place. I don't know why, but there was this era, probably 74, 76, New York.
Yep.
Everyone I liked seemed to be in that little pocket. And probably that old classic when people dropped, Detroit in the probably late 60s, there was that era as well. I always really liked. Yeah.
Yep.
But I was really, before all of that, I was always a young first wave punk enthusiast, predominantly England, and then people turned me on to homegrown stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the same with me. I started listening to, I think when I was about 12, 13, The Clash, The Pistols, X-Ray Specs,
Yep.
all that sort of stuff. And then about 15, I moved to Sydney, and I got into a lot of the Australian bands that were kicking around at the time, like oh God, Birdman had already started and done their thing by the time I got down there. But like World War 24, God, the Space Juniors, Hard On, Splatterheads, all those kind of bands. And I was right with them up until 92. And then the Australian, I think the 90s weren't that good a decade for Australian punk, in my opinion. Not that I could see anyway. Like you had Grinspoon and the Polkas and all that kind of shit, and it was just like it turned me off Australian punk for a while. So I went and started listening. I was introduced to NoFX and blah 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 blah, and then I realised I saw some stuff on the internet, and I realised Australia's really got a mad punk scene. Like what I've seen since doing this show, like there's some fucking amazing stuff out there. You know what I mean? And like who have you played with that have been a real? Oh man, I got to play with these guys. Blah blah. Blah. Have you got many stories like that?
There's countless young bands, old bands, in between. We just don't get spoon-fed it anymore. In the old days when I was growing up, when people talk about, how accessible the music was, not the music I liked, I had to look for it anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't on Donny Sutherland, it was obscure, and it still is. I think things like Things on the Street or Drum, whatever those magazines were, you'd get a little snippet, right, of the independent stuff, and that's how you get your information and word of mouth. It's still the same, Now I tend to use Spotify as a fan, as a music fan. It's unreal. I can find anything I want. Incredible bands out there. A band that blew my mind last time I saw. There's Stiff Richards live, awesome.
Okay.
For a live act, Neptune Powder Federation.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to go and be entertained, those two bands blow your mind if you're into that kind of music.
And they're Australian, are they?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you a link of a little playlist that Dark Cloud's knocked up of sort of bands that we've either seen or played with, and it's hitting up around 24 hours,
Wow.
Music that's current Australian.
Yep.
Yeah, there's bucket loads out there, but it's not getting delivered to your door. You're gonna have to go find it.
So the Angels with lead singer of Screaming Jets, would you back them up? If the manager went to manager, hey, we got the Angels playing. We're looking for a support act. Would you take that on as a support act?
Look, in a heartbeat. I've on like that list that I was telling you about. That there's a few that with new singer, and they're just as good. People scoffing at him. At Gleason, I think he does a fantastic job.
He does an excellent job, man.
Yeah.
And even I don't know if you've heard Screaming Jets, the cover album. They just do Australian covers,
right?
Like they do Aussie Crawl. In the guitar band, I can't remember who does that. I think it was Chain, maybe. But anyway, he's done the covers. He's actually can fit in so many genres. Like listen, like he, you know, he can play rock, he can play country, you know, and he just gets in there, and he is one of my favorite showmen in the Australian music scene. One of the best showmen. I actually the top for a whole week. Each day I did the showman, and he didn't even make it in, and I feel so bad because when it was the last day and I'd put my thing in, and I thought, oh fuck, I forgot about Scotty Glee. You know, this guy on stage was like, even with the Screaming Jets, he just fucking had that much persona on stage.
Yeah,
it was incredible. So anyway, if you had to do a cover, what song would you like to cover? Or have you done covers?
Yeah, we do a few. Deliberately trying to be, you know, those classic, like Sonic Producer or something like that. A real standout, classic punk anthem. Also, we're quite prone to playing some Stooges songs or Ramon songs. But yeah, we'll give most things a crack. You know.
Yeah.
But
Except
there's an Nirvana song that I'd always like to play, but you know, try to spend more time writing your own stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course. But I think it's just a thing for a live band to do. You got to play one cover a night. You know what I mean? Do you guys like have that one cover that you play?
Yeah, well, look, we try to bounce it around a bit. I don't like doing the same thing. I don't like being one of those front men that has a generic, you know, thing that he says all the time. I do try to be different every time and specific to where we're playing. But you just see people get into it. So, you know, we're not precious about covers. I do really love playing Buy It the One. You know, I love playing. Yeah.
Yep. Because I was on the internet the other day, and the chats. I was I was looking at their playlist, and they actually do a Wiggles cover. Can you point your finger and do the twist?
Yeah,
and I just I like, because I've been waiting for someone to do a fucking Wiggles cover, like, and that was probably one of the best that they could have chosen out of a like, these guys have put out 20 albums, the Wiggles, out of a big thing, and they picked one that really could be played in a punk way. And yeah, so like as you were saying, you know, obscure covers, it's just these guys had, yeah, they done well. They done really well. Who's the best band you've supported?
so many. Look,
There is.
it's pretty special for us to support Birdman. We were blown away getting that support.
Was that with the Birdman? Was that just a gig or was that a festival?
Now that was probably one of the last shows that they played at the factory. Yeah, upstairs. Yeah, so for us it was big. You know, three of us in the band were tragic Birdman fans. You know, that's what we grew up. You know, yeah. Once we sorted out that basically there was this incredible scene in Australia. Yeah, they were the kings. Yeah. So that'd have to be the first thing I'd ever say.
Oh, for sure. I was. There's a lot of punk sites on the internet of like Melbourne, Perth, Queensland, blah blah blah, and I doing season 2 of this show, I'd sent out a thing, you know, looking for some more bands and blah blah blah, and this guy said, yeah, I'm in a band, and I went, oh, who are you playing with? And he goes, The New Christ, and I just went, oh, okay, and like, I don't think I could, it'd be like I've got him booked, Mark from World War 24, and I know if I had to interview the new Criers, I'd be a blubbering mess. I would be fucked. I'd be that nervous. Like as at the first interview I did way back in November was in a Canadian band, and I was that fucking nervous. I got that pissed. They were a great band. The interview was brilliant. But me, I was just a complete mess. And I think that if they ever said, yeah, we'll be into it, I don't think I could do it, but I'll give it a go. But I know what you're saying. Like, we are not worthy when it comes to Rob Younger and oh God, yeah, Mark Nwain. You just, I don't know how you guys can do it. Play as support to one of your favorite acts, one of your favorite bands. Like, do you want to finish the set real quick, or are you getting booed, or are people there going, "Fuck it, we just want to see Birdman. Come on, did you feel that kind of? Oh, was there that tense situation?"
Well, that particular show, we had some technical issues, so I was a bit distracted. But before going on, I couldn't even talk. They were walking around. I was just like a little kid. I was just hiding in the corner. Basically my musical, heroes were walking around me. And
yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from. Oh God, what got you into punk? What was it that made you think, no, I don't want to play in a rock and roll band. I don't want to, I don't want to do hip hop. I don't want to, punk is my calling. What made you feel that way? Is it because of the music you got into as a teenager, as a young fella?
First record I was ever really grabbed by, my sister gave me Combat Rock. I think I was about 14 or 15.
Clash, brilliant album.
And just what they were talking about, and being able to understand and get this whole, to me it was a very strong political awareness, anti-racism, bigger picture. I was migrant parents, when I could really, really understand, to me, it just kicked up things about discrimination and that kind of thing. And that is what hooked me, It's definitely what hooked me. And then I sort of fell into bands like the Vibrators. There's an album, Pure Mania, which I still play to this day all the time. I'm not a big fan of their other stuff, but I loved it. And to me, that's music. That's what I grew up. Look, there's always been Sabbath and a bit of the blues and stuff in the background. I love slide guitar. I just think it's the screaming about unfairness that attracted me to punk. Yeah.
Definitely. No, 100%. Your most memorable gig, like, has it been one of them? Well, I think everybody that plays in a band longer than 5 years, I think they'd have that memorable gig. And what was yours?
For me, I would say rollerball. Playing with rollerball in Wollongong, Dicey Riders. That was, loved it. Absolutely loved it. And that's a combination of playing in front of them, feedback from people, and just to show. Sometimes things click, It was just one of those shows.
Like, it's such a small venue. I can't rollerball, and you get wow.
Yeah, it was chock-a-block. Yeah, but there's been great ones. Where every show we've ever played with Tumbleweed, I adored. Going down to middle of Victoria, playing to a handful of people in the middle of nowhere. awesome. But yeah, rollerball would be my pick.
Okay. What's your worst one?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we had one not long ago. It was pretty shocking, but yeah, we got through it.
Okay. We'll leave it at that then. Okay. What band would you like to support? Like, have you played overseas? Have you done any overseas work?
No, nothing to beat. Look, in the perfect world, when all we do is play rock and roll, that'd be great. But everyone's got jobs, and those days are long gone. Wouldn't we all love to be playing Wacken or playing Germany, Spain? Yeah, but there's lots.
Japan loves their punk. Japan, I think, are probably the most. They welcome punk so much. Like, I've seen that many live gigs on YouTube of bands that have played in Japan, and Japan just, the Japanese punters there are like, my God, you guys are here with it. Like, it's something so that they feel, you can see that they're, this, being able to watch this band, it's touching them. They're not just a bunch of blokes getting pissed, throw a bottle up on stage kind of thing. Like, I've seen that many concerts of them, and they are probably, I think, would be the. I heard Rancid, it's their favourite place to play. They love going to Japan, kind of thing. Yeah. So, if you were going overseas to do a tour, what would you do? Would you do the American and up that way, or the European?
Yeah, look, it's a bit hypothetical. I'd do anything, absolutely do anything. Yeah, I'd be happy playing shows every weekend, But when people work and when you do the cost analysis and check it out, it's big. But yeah, I'd go anywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. What would you like to do on if you're in the studio? It's a hard question. I won't ask you that one, actually, because I asked a band last week the same thing. All right. What have you got children?
Yes, 3.
Do you let them listen to your music?
Yeah. One of them's out at the moment wearing a Dark Clouds t-shirt. So
magic.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a big responsibility to give them early influences to music. Yeah, it may be considered brainwashing. I don't know. I don't want them listening to dribble.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. Like my kids are into that Little Peep and Little fucking Tracy, little this, little that, like in the hip hop scene, and I think that is more like in our day in the 80s, like it was like our parents were going, this punk shit, this is blah blah blah. I don't want my kids listening to this blah. You know what I mean? And now that I'm 52 years old, I've got 8 kids, but I'm worried about them listening to hip hop. You know what I mean? It's
which goes full circle, Sure, my mother was getting told not to listen to Elvis Presley,
Exactly. Yep.
But in my household, I talk about dribble. When I say dribble, is I don't care what style of music it is, but you can tell if they mean it. Right? There's rules in this house. If they mean it, I don't mind you listening to it. But if you can see that it's mass-produced dribble, that's different.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to hear dribble. It's like art,
Yeah, no, well said. Yep. It's your turn now to tell me some stories. Tell me like things that have happened on the road, you know, happened in the studio. Yeah, some dirt. Give me some dirt on the clouds.
Yeah, you'll never hear dirt from me, mate. Never. Never.
Yeah, give me some clean dirt.
Yeah. I was watching something on YouTube the other day, and an interviewer asked the guy, you know, you do anything stupid or something? And the guy goes, what? And the interview goes, I don't know, you dress up in monkey suits and stuff.
Oh, that was the guy from Blink 182.
Yeah, he goes, what the fuck?
And the manager goes, get the fuck off my bus.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the drummer from Blink 182.
That's right. Yeah.
That is just the most pathetic question that I think anybody could ask. Like you could even see on Travis's face, like he's like,
Yeah.
What? Kind of thing. And he was, get off the bus, fuck yeah, get off the bus.
You hear the guy mumble, you hear him mumble, goes, oh, you know, sorry, man, it's like, he says, you know, they just threw me into this or something. So, you know, it's obviously off the top of his head, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So they were saying, you know, what goes on tour. Yeah. The most exciting thing I would ever divulge would be, you know, we had a classic band moment of blowing a radiator hose on the way to a show and fixing it with gaffer tape and traveling, I think, another 2,000 Ks back home before we could fix it. So nothing exciting, mate.
Who's like I'm not quite sure about this day and age, but earlier, have you got a band that you guys like get together and you'll go to a tour, like you'll just go around Australia or something? You've got any sort of bromance with another band that you do tours with? Hey, let's go fucking eat 2-minute noodles for a month and play some gigs.
Yeah, we don't. A band that we would follow anywhere, we sort of have this rule that, you know, as a band, one of us has to make an effort, you know, to be going out and seeing bands. We do have a big soft spot for Leadfinger. So they just released an album. I think it came out yesterday. Tezza, our guitarist, has certainly spent a lot of time on the road with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's someone. Yeah, we travel around with.
That was actually my next question. Band members in your band, have you played in other bands? Is there a history of, or have you guys gotten together first off where, you know, this is our first band, blah, 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 or have you got other members that used to play for them or used to play for them? Or
yeah, well, three of us, so guitar, bass and me, we grew up one street apart.
Wow.
Me and the guitarist have been mates since we were, I'd say it's about third class, fourth class.
Yeah.
Rich, bass player, lived in the next street. So we'd formed a band quite early, right, as I think we were about 19, 20. So we played together and then just stopped. But Tezza, who runs the band, he writes everything. It's all his stuff. His background is founding member of Proton Energy Pills.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he
So
was in
what?
there very early. I lost it.
Is he one of the brothers?
No.
So he's the electric guitarist. He's the lead guitarist.
Yeah, so there were two guitarists, Stuart Cunningham and Terry. I'm talking at the very, very start.
Okay, yep.
They were babies. Yeah. And then as things go, that evolved, and Terry went on to play in a band called Mudlungs, a Wollongong band. They were just hitting that that era, just as Nevermind, just as Nirvana sort of started coming, they were on the verge of what I would call stoner.
Yeah.
So they were just hovering around there as Nirvana broke. But they played a lot. And then basically we all just quit. Nobody played music.
Yeah.
And then about 10 years ago, we had a discussion about maybe playing some songs, doing some stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, just decided this is what we want to do.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to Proton Energy Pills. I used to love seeing them. I don't know if you remember the band Killing Time, and then they became Mantissa.
Right.
Yeah, it was always those two, like at the Lansdowne Hotel on a Friday night. If Tumbleweed were playing or the Protons were playing, you'd have Killing Time or Mantissa, as they changed their name as well as
Yep.
as a thing. And I think because I'm living in Wollongong at the moment, but I think the scene down here is quite phenomenal. It's like there are so many good bands kicking ass, and all I've heard is maybe we might do a reunion tour or something, the Protons or Tumbleweed. But yeah, I think with those two bands, and Have a Nice Day, Mark Welsh, they were always doing their thing, and it was always those bands playing those actual gigs. What's your favorite decade of punk?
Yeah, see, all the way through we've been talking, and punk's like a little splinter under my skin, it's subjective. Punk to me is probably an attitude more than a style of music, where there's some things that get labelled as punk. Every cell in my body goes, nah. Where even with the Dark Clouds, I would never describe the style of music that we play as punk. I just wouldn't. Do we fit in that genre? Yeah, sure, but I'm an old fart. To me, punk is new wave. Punk is, I don't even put Birdman in punk. I label that as proto punk.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah, so I label it different. Other Stooges punk. I don't know. So to me, my favourite era of punk is definitely, let's say 69 to 80. Yeah.
Well, the Kinks were supposed to have been the original punk band, like people were saying. Sorry, mate, I've lost you. Can you see me? Because I've lost myself.
I've lost you.
Answering a question and then I get lost. Wait a sec, I'm coming back. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Like that punk it's such a wide variety of like the Allen Guns say, is this punk? Is that punk? You know what I mean? Is this punk? Is that punk kind of thing? And it is like what you've brought out, what you've said. Yes. Punk, is this punk? Is getting up on stage like G.G. Allen shitting on the stage and rubbing it all over yourself? Is that punk? You know what I mean? Like I really dig the answer you said then, because it is a big statement to put yourself in that category. You know what I mean? Like as we spoke earlier tonight at the interview, like the Divinals, like they can go into that category if you really want to put them in that category.
Definitely. Again, when I say attitude, you know, how could her attitude on stage not be considered punk? You know, how can she not be, you know, discussed in the same way as Deborah Harry? You know, I'm always puzzled when you see on Facebook and stuff where people go, "Who's the best front man?" Right? And she never gets a mention.
No.
Never gets a mention. She'd blow nearly everyone out of the water.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I guess we're nearly at the end of the show as we're coming on to past. So to finish it off, any more stories? Because I'm running out of questions here. I can bring I can say the usual questions that I bring up every interview, but I'd like to. You're really blowing my mind. Really, I'm really digging what you're saying here, and yeah, I'd like to hear more about your view on the punk scene, the indie scene, the alternative scene, you know, and what you consider and what you don't consider to be rock or punk or indie or
Well, you mentioned the Owen Guns, right? Now, I don't think I could mention a band that's more punk than them at the moment.
Yeah, they're great.
To me, that is exactly it. Is it what I used to listen to? No, you know. When I listen to the music that I grew up listening to, it's quite melodic. A lot of times there's a lot of reggae and stuff in there. You know, to me, I would even struggle if someone said the Clash were punk. I'd go, no. To me, I would consider them almost, I wouldn't say ska, but there's a lot of reggae going on there.
Definitely.
And sure, we can say there's links with reggae and ska and punk and all that. Yeah, but absolutely.
Well, the same with the Sex Pistols, like their attitude and everything. You could fall into the category of punk, but their music style to me is cowpunk. It's like a country sort of, like they played a lot of country music,
right,
with their style. It just ended up being punk.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. I always thought it was just Chuck Berry getting screamed out. But you know, my favourite genre of music for a while when I was young were the Johnnies. You know, a band called the Bamboos. So what I would definitely call cowpunk. I was absolutely into it.
Great.
These days, tell me, you know, the Super Suckers. I adore the Super Suckers again because it's almost that cowpunk. Yeah, it's country punk. I really, really like it. Yeah,
definitely. I've just been listening to them. I've heard they've been around since the 90s, but I've just been. I'm new to the Super Suckers at the moment. And I heard them I was going through my song list and, you know, picking some good bands, and the Super Suckers doing Outcasts' Hey Ya. Like, what a fucking cover is that? They didn't speed it up and make it like they actually stuck true to the sound of what that song permeated, but they did it in a indie way. They did it in a way where, like, yeah, no, this is not the way the Outcasts done it, but you know what I'm saying? They did that song brilliantly. I thought, what a great cover. What an amazing cover for a band to do and get away with it, with people actually saying, wow, you know what I mean? Instead of, I hate that song, you know. Anyway, but Yeah, I think they did it. They stayed with the true ambiguity of the song, but they played it their way.
Yeah.
All right. If you've got nothing more to say, if you don't have any more stories to tell, I'd like to say thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. Like, it's great talking to you guys. I look forward to it all the time, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Awesome.
Great to have it.
Hopefully we get to see it out at a show, you know, when we all get encouraged to get back out there.
Definitely.
All
right, mate.
I'm heading out hungover 'cause there's things I've got to do. I've got no time to sleep it off, but it's great hanging out with you. Sharing drinks and sharing laughs, the stories and the lies. And if the cops come calling, you're my alibi. 'Cause I'm heading out hungover, there's things I've got to do. But if I could, you know I would stay hanging out with you. Yes, if I could, you know I would keep hanging out with you. Laughing, walking, singing, talking, and all that we could do. Sharing some laughs over the past and finding out what's new. Yes, if I could, you know